International Human Rights Day, we launched Kvod Habriot, a Jewish human rights network. This new grassroots network, the first of its kind to be a partnership between rabbis and lay activists, is the next step in our work to keep the conversation about Judaism and human rights at the forefront of the national Jewish agenda. We are rabbis, communities, and individuals dedicated to the human rights of all. It is through Kvod Habriot that Rabbis for Human Rights is continuing the work against torture and will then expand our work to other future domestic human rights issues. Kvod Habriot has at its core three basic Jewish values which form our statement of principles. Tselem Elohim, which Brian spoke about so beautifully, that every person is created in the image of God. Latzot tzedek u'mishpat, that we must do what is right and what is just. And ger yatom v'amana al tonu, that we should not oppress the most vulnerable members of our society. There are two parts to being active in Kvod Habriot. The first is individual membership. Individual members are the key to our advocacy work as an organization. Because it is through individuals that we can react quickly. Sometimes we don't know. We may have 6 hours before a bill is going to be raised in Congress and we want to take action on it immediately. And it's through individual members that we can do that. Through action alerts, you who are individual members of Kvod Habriot are our rapid response team. We reach out and you respond. And over the past year, you've spoken out to against Casey's confirmation. We worked to help pass the Intelligence Authorization Act, which would have held the CIA to the same rules as the Army, as the Army Field Manual. And that voice was really significant. Our elected officials know that what a big role religion plays in American public dialogue, and so hearing from the Jewish community was really important. Congregations can also become members of Kvod Habriot, and they're at the heart of our programming initiatives, such as educational work or human rights liturgy. Together, Kvod Habriot communities explore what it means to engage in human rights work as a synagogue. And I think for synagogues who are looking to expand their social justice mission beyond simply doing more service-oriented work to really engaging in advocacy, Kvod Habriot provides you with a framework for doing advocacy work as a congregation. It puts you in community with other congregations who are doing human rights work. It gives you resource material, and you can also call upon those of us who work for Rabbis for Human Rights to talk about what you're doing, what might work in your congregation. I spend a lot of my time on the phone with, not just with rabbis, but also with their social justice chair to say, tell me what's going on in your community. How can we be helpful? And I love hearing what everyone is doing in their congregation. So I invite your congregation to be part of that conversation about advocacy and Jewish human rights work. So I'm going to ask you today to join Kvod Habriot. You'll see a number of us who are wearing these lovely Kvod Habriot buttons, and they are members of Kvod Habriot, or their congregations are. Downstairs at the Rabbis for Human Rights table, or in your conference packet, you'll find a sign-up form for Kvod Habriot, it looks just like that. It is very easy to join. For those of you who join as individuals, you will be put on our mailing list and you'll get a limited number of emails from us. Not that often. That'll keep you updated on our programming and also on upcoming initiatives, such as, for example, this coming Shabbat is Human Rights Shabbat, which I know a number of you are involved with in your communities. For those of you who want to join Kvod Habriot as a congregation, this is a lay rabbinic partnership. So we need an interested rabbi, and we also need a committed layperson who's willing to take on this work in your community, whether you're the social justice chair or just someone for whom Judaism and human rights are really, really important. I think Kvod Habriot is beginning to have an impact. This past June was Anti-Torture Month, and a large number of our Kvod Habriot communities did something to mark Anti-Torture Month. Many of our communities hung banners, not just Kvod Habriot communities, but a number of communities that hung Stop Torture banners, which continue to be displayed, and they were part of over 300 congregations of different faiths who hung these Stop Torture banners, and you can see them on the poster, which you'll find in your conference packet. And we have Human Rights Shabbat coming up, which a number of Kvod Habriot congregations are also doing. So there's a number of opportunities throughout the year to become involved with other Jewish communities interested in human rights work. This is a really critical juncture in our nation's history for human rights. We have a real chance to correct what has happened over the past 8 years and to move forward as a country recommitting ourselves to human rights. Kavod Habriot is an opportunity for you and your community to commit yourself to take action for fundamental human freedoms, and I hope you'll join us.
So I want to say what a joy it is to have Rachel Kahn-Troster, Rabbi Rachel Kahn-Troster, as the director of the program, and also what a real pleasure it is to be the executive director of an organization that was able to fund, at least so far, a full-time salary for a rabbi coming out of rabbinical school to do human rights work, to do justice work. When I was in rabbinical school, all I